coaching group happy with how things are progressing at this part of the week?
Yep, it's been a very good week. We worked hard Saturday, recovered well, and I've obviously been putting plans in, to win against a very good Georgia side. So yeah, we're pretty happy with where we are at the moment. There's still 2 big days to come, a big recovery travel day, and then just a captain's run to make sure we put all the final touches on getting ready for the weekend.
So just to clarify, that was like the big sort of session of the week. Like, will you train tomorrow or a bit of a lighter tomorrow?
Oh no, there's nothing tomorrow. We've got a bit of travel today back to Paris. Yeah, I think if you ask the boys, they'd say every day is probably a decent day. But yeah, we're happy with the last 2 days have been, our bigger days, our bigger training days. And we're pleased with where we are.
Did Samu Karevi train today?
Yep, Samu trained whole session.
Okay, so he right for selection?
Well, he's available. So, Eddie will make that decision, the final decisions on that today and tonight. And then we'll announce obviously everything tomorrow. But yeah, he's obviously trained today and he's available.
Is typically Tuesday is like a test match Tuesday. Is that not the case under Eddie's training program at the moment?
Oh, look, I think the week varies to when we play and what's coming up. So, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, there's people with all different ones that work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Friday, train Thursday, recovery Friday. So we're trying to find the sweet spot, that we think gives our players the best to keep improving every day and to be ready to win test matches on the weekend.
And was there a reason yesterday why Simon, he wasn't training? Was there a reason why that was the case?
No specific reason. Yeah, again, he's been coming back. So he has a really individualised plan with John Pryor and John Clark. Just to make sure that at the back end of the week he's in the very best position to be able to contribute to the team if he's called on.
Zane, we don't know. How you going? First
Good.
World Cup experience. What's the first few weeks been like in France?
Yeah, it's been hectic really. It's been really cool just to experience the environments, and training's been really full on, and everyone's been getting into it with a lot of energy and really excited for the World Cup.
Is it what you experienced the first couple of weeks? Is that what you thought,
rather? Kind of. I thought it was going to be hard, but it's definitely been harder than what I thought it would be, which is a good thing. Getting ready for a lot of tough games coming up. But yeah, it's been really enjoyable, the experience. Like, we're really testing each other out in the field and getting closer. Out in our hotels and bonding together. So it's been good.
It's been a pretty whirlwind and rapid rise. Can you imagine a couple of years ago thinking that you'd be at this World Cup campaign?
Nah, to be honest, wouldn't have thought that. It was definitely a dream and a goal of mine. But to be in part of the squad is a real honour, and I'm very excited to be here. But just got to keep adding to the team and bring what I bring and help the team get better.
What was it like? I know it's a week and a half ago now, but you came off the bench against France. Great experience, packed house. Tell us about that firstly. But secondly, do you think it also helps just that experience going forward?
Yeah, obviously it was a packed house. So it was pretty cool to run out in front of that. I think it's the biggest crowd I would have played in front of. But yeah, it was really cool to experience that and just play against that Northern Hemisphere rugby. And I think the experience has really been good for us so we can get used to that experience of all those fans screaming. And because in the World Cup we'll have a few fans in the stands. We've got to get used to that.
What do you know about Georgia and what threats they'll possess this weekend?
Obviously they're very good at set piece and they're very physical. And we've been trying to replicate that in training. And we've been trying to, up the physicality and up our set piece and just get ready for that challenge, and hopefully we can, get the goods over them.
And great beards.
Yeah, great. A lot of hair.
You'll be a guy.
Yeah. Eddie's been calling me a Georgian. I was like, yeah.
Eddie's been calling you Georgian.
Yeah. Because of the beard.
It's a hot time at the moment for that.
Yeah.
The past few months, can you tell, you came your debut against South Africa, hostile environment probably doesn't get more hostile. What did you learn from that experience?
I think I learned a lot from that experience. Obviously, it's a massive step up Test rugby, and I didn't do too well in the set piece there, but I got a lot of learnings from that, and just around the field as well. Like White has been really good in helping me in training, like where to be, my positioning, getting up off the line square, and has been really good in helping me with my set piece around scrums. And I think every game I've just been improving with that, and in training sessions focusing on getting better. So I think just taking that step forward every time, every training, every game.
You didn't have Daniela earlier this year at the Reds. You kind of think that was almost beneficial for your development, that without him you got to play a lot more minutes that you might not have otherwise?
Well, obviously you never want to see your mates be injured, but I think it's no secret that since he got injured I got to play a bit more time, and I think it's been really good for my development. But it's really good to have him back in the team. He's just a really good person to have around the field. Back at home, he's just bringing the energy and jokes and laughs, so it's really good to have him back.
It sounds like it's going to be very hot on Saturday in Paris, like in the 30s, possibly at kick-off. Do you think that helps potentially Australia's chances? You guys are training Darwin, you guys as well are to the heat up north as well.
We have been training in the heat for the past couple of weeks, but so I think we've been doing a lot of work there, trying to get our bodies right for it, get our fitness up, rugby conditioning, get that up. But I think when you get out there, it's always going to be hard. So I think it's got us in good stead, but we still have to be ready for the challenge.
You said it was hustle harder than you thought. Where does this training with this Wallabies team compare to others you've done? Is this right up there in terms of getting the lungs?
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely been very tough. Probably the toughest training I've done. But I mean, you kind of just got to show up and go as hard as you can. And if you're burnt out, just keep going.
Eddie's looked like Eddie's clearly had you in his camps all along. He showed a lot of faith and trust to kind of have you here. How's your relationship with him, and is he what you expected as a coach?
I think it's pretty good. Like, he loves a laugh. He calls me that George, and he has nicknames to everyone. But I guess he's a pretty good coach to be around. Like, he loves to laugh, but then when he gets serious, it's serious, and you gotta be switched on for that. But it's definitely not what I expected, I guess. But I really respect him as a coach, and I like hearing from him. It's good to know that he's backing me and backing the whole team.
What about your World Cup experience? Do you remember which World Cup you first watched, or you started to fall in love with rugby and think one day I might be here?
I actually watched the 2015 World Cup. I went on a tour with my club to England. We were able to watch the game where Aussie played England at Twickenham. So that was a pretty cool game to be able to watch. So yeah.
How do you feel now that, in all likelihood, Pone seemingly not quite right, looks like you'll feature in some capacity? That must be pretty incredible. That first game you're probably likely to be out there.
Yeah, it's an exciting thought, but I mean, can't really change how I prepare whether I'm playing or not. Still got to train the same way and bring the same intensity.
Yeah, I think if I just add on to that, it's not just the fact that Pone is, after an injury, the work that Zane's put in. We watched him against Ethan de Groot when the Reds played the Highlanders in those final stages, and where he's gone from. He had an outstanding scrum day that day, and the work that he's put in. He's properly putting his hand up as a bloke to start and to come off the bench. So that's where, me personally, the coaches have seen real growth in him as a player, is that he's not that backup player. He's the way he's pushing himself to become a starter. For me, it's been a great transformation with him.
And was that kind of the moment that put Zane on the radar, or was it, against the Chiefs when Queensland hung on and they beat them?
I think, World Cup selection and Wallaby selection is not going to be based on one moment. I think what we saw towards the back end of the season, with the more minutes that he was playing, was more and more of those big moments against good opposition, that he's repeating. You can get a one-off, and I think, what Zane started to understand, not putting words in his mouth, is that it's the consistency of those repeats. Do it again, keep doing it again, keep getting better. And we're seeing that, in spades from him. So that's a really good sign for us. There's nobody here as a backup. No one's backing up here. Everybody's here to challenge for a spot. We get that sort of attitude in training, which is what we're really getting. It keeps pushing the team forward.
And you've seen so many props go through over the years. Zane's, I think, 22.
Yeah.
For a youngster at 22 playing tight head at a World Cup for the Wallabies, it's a hell of a rise. Can you put in a bit of context around how much there's still to go, but also how quickly he's got to where he is with the the muscles and broad shoulders he's got.
Yeah, I mean, he's like Benjamin Button in reverse. He looks about 42, but he's, you know, he's the work that I said, I can't compliment enough, you know, the work that he's put in. It's probably the toughest position. You've got to scrum all the weight through you. You've got to drive. You've got to, you know, you've got to maul. You've got to ruck. You've got to carry, defend. You know, the amount of actions that these big men have, and you know, as big men to keep going, repeat, get off the floor. I think it's the toughest position in our game. So at 22 to be playing international rugby is a big step in that position. So I think the scope for growth is huge with him. He's a big man. The scope for growth is massive. So that's probably for me, you know, for Australian rugby, something that's really exciting. If you look at the group, it's such a young group. You know, guys like Tom Hooper, Zane. It's a group of young men, and they're really making an effort to push forward. So I think it's exciting times, not just for now. Now's the focus, but moving forward, I think really exciting.
And we all know flashy backs or whatever, they can go through schoolboy, and sometimes that leap might not be so significant. Same for a tight head prop school, I imagine you were one of the bigger kids there. Like, how big was that jump, and did it take a while for you to start to realise that you're now playing against them and you're not up against those school guys anymore?
Yeah, it was a massive jump. Obviously, I think the last full game I played before I debuted at Super Rugby was probably a schoolboy game, like an under 18. So it was pretty, it was a massive jump. But I guess you just gotta adapt and learn quickly with it. You know, like they're not gonna wait for you to get used to it. You just gotta jump in and try your hardest and learn from every experience you have.
Or was it a difficult kind of mentally, as much as anything, knowing that you've probably dominated that schoolboy period for a long time, to then have to make that leap where you're right down the bottom of the chain again? Almost?
Yeah, I mean it was difficult, but you got a lot of people around you, like backing you and helping you out just to do like extras of training, and like it's like I said, they're not going to wait for you to get better. You just got to knuckle in, and you know, especially with scrums, like you're always learning with scrums. You have to always try and get better every session. So I think the only thing you can do is just learn from every session. Don't try not to do the same mistakes twice, and if you do, I'm sure someone will let you know that you're doing it wrong. Yeah. But yeah, just try and learn from every experience, and yeah, just keep digging in.
And has there been any other mentors who did you look up to as a prop going through the ranks?
Yeah, obviously for me, it was being from Queensland, it was Nella. So it's been pretty cool to be able to, I guess, come through all the systems with him and have him there as a mentor throughout my whole career. So it was pretty cool.
Well, it's not often that you're the side show, mate.
I was happy to be done there if you guys are happy.
Another World Cup, Nick. It's
Yep.
almost here. Does it feel real? You happy?
Yeah, feels very real. Mate, absolutely stoked. Like, I guess when I first came back to train rugby, there was a question mark around 2023. So, look, I'm here. And, you know, we've put in a lot of hard work, and it's all ahead of us. We're all at the start line now, and the gun's about to go, and we've worked bloody hard, and I think we're all just looking forward to it.
Do you think the fact that Tate is vice captain affects your chances of starting at all, or have you been an indication that won't matter when you're vying for that starting spot?
Oh, mate, we're both leaders in our own right, obviously. Vice captain, you know, and he's doing a good job there. But you know, we're a team of 33. Whoever's playing good footy will play. Like seen that, in, I guess throughout the rugby championship. So look, it doesn't affect the way I prepare, the way I lead. You know, to be honest, and spoken to that with Eddie, and yeah, look, you know, he's made it very clear that the best man will do the job, and Tate's been doing a great job at the moment, and you know, I feel like I've been doing a really good job of supporting him, and that's my job as well, right? I'm under no illusion of where I'm at with my career and my age and my experience, and like Hat said, there's a now and for the future and a young group, and you know, any part that I can play in helping that, I want to. So, you know, that might be start, that might be bench, that might be out of the 23, and you know, I want to do whatever role that is, whatever job that is, to the absolute best of my ability.
You've been working very closely with Carter, no doubt. Take us inside into how he's preparing, how he's feeling ahead of a main World Cup game for him. It's a big occasion.
It is, Matt. You know, the group's gotten around him. You know, obviously had a little bit of a tough day last week, but he's a tough kid, and I think he's shown that in spades throughout the last couple of years how tough he is. So, look, we're under no doubt. You know, he'll bounce back, and he's been phenomenal in training. There's not much more to say than that. He's a tough rooster.
And Samu at training today. How's he going? Looks okay.
Yeah, bumped me off. Quite nice. No, he's running through blokes, mate. He was good today.
Waddy, was there ever a thought that you might not make it? Like obviously a couple of other older guys were left out. Did you fear that you wouldn't be here?
I think every player, fears that. Until you get that phone call. Look, I was. No, mate, yeah, I don't know how to say it. Like you can't be too confident until you get that phone call. Like I said, whatever role, I was confident in whatever role I get, whether or not it wasn't here, like for Australian rugby, whether or not it's starting bench, not in the 23, wherever it is. I feel like there's a role for me in the next couple of years with rugby in Australia, and I really want to, do that to the absolute best of my ability. So, it was. I absolutely wanted to be here, but if I wasn't, there was still a job for me to do.
You and Willie kind of in 2019, 1 week, you'll start in the next years, and it almost seemed like the replacement nine was having a bigger impact in a lot of those games. What did you learn from that experience around, yes, contributing from the bench, but also how do you ensure that you have the fastest start?
Yeah, look, it's I guess talking about it, like the start is really important, but I think the game has evolved into the bench just isn't a bench anymore. People have used finishers, bomb squad, like game winners, all these sorts of things. That there is a huge, they're the championship minutes, that last 20, they can be as crucial as ever. I think George Gregan was the first to tell me that. He wanted to be on the field in that last 20. They're the big moments. In big games when trophies are involved, and so fast start crucially important to put the team in a really good spot, but equally as important the guys coming on in the end to make sure they finish off that game.
It seemed under Rens that you guys were always missing the gate, like you were always conceding first points, but it's been completely opposite under Eddie. Generally speaking, tries inside the first 10 minutes a lot of the time. Can you put your finger on why there's been a shift in the space of the last 12 months with the fast starts?
I can't. That's a really good observation, and I don't know, mate. Like, we're training hard, we're training fast. I don't know, more alert. I don't know. Sorry, but it's good, isn't it? We're getting far. You know what I mean? So I don't want to look into it too much. What we're doing is kind of working, but you're right. We need to get that middle part and that end part right. But yeah, we're starting fast. So we'll have to keep working on that.
Well, what about the next couple of days? Probably pretty crucial. It's been a quick and a long build-up. It's kind of felt a bit strange when there's so much that's happened this year. But how do you ensure that everyone is completely right over the next 72 hours leading into the game, and that you are mentally there for the game?
Yeah, I think it's understanding everyone's going to be nervous. And what I mean by that, there'll be some young guys in our group that are nervous, old blokes in our group nervous, staff members that are nervous, but also every team bloody nervous. We're at the start line. So just understanding that's okay, that everybody is feeling the same before a World Cup. Like you know what I mean? Like it's and it's okay to feel that way. Nerves are a good thing. It means you care, and just making sure that when they come on, embrace them. And we've got some pretty good people to talk to about that. Our Sykes here, and getting back to our job really quickly and what's important in our game and how we can start fast. So I think that's the biggest thing, I guess, for a young group, is that nerves are okay. I'm nervous.
I think I understand why he's probably undersold his role a little bit there. There will be nothing perfect, and that's where he's added such good value. His experiences in France and England, playing in different leagues, is when it's not perfect. Understand that you want it to be, but it's never going to be that. And that's when you need people like Nic. You mentioned about his role helping Carter. He's been invaluable in that. So having some of these more experienced older players be in a position to help players when it's not perfect, understand that that's okay, and we just got to move on, focus on next job. So Nic's been doing a brilliant job there for us with that.
Thanks, mate.
There'll be thousands of Aussies at this game. This is a test where a lot of Aussies will travel for this game. Is it easy to block that out? Will be a lot of noise around this weekend, and start of a World Cup as players. Are you tunnel vision, or do you try and embrace a bit of that and soak it up that you're playing for Australia World Cup? Oh,
You certainly embrace that by the time, but once you're out there at the stadium, it's all bets are off. We're focused on the footy, but pre that we talk a lot about who we're playing for back home. Who's enormous sacrifice for fans to come over, spend a lot of their hard earned to come all the way to France and support us. And and we acknowledge that. And like pre-game, we'll be talking about that for sure. There's people there we're playing for, and a lot of people back home. But yeah, once that bus arrives at that stadium and we're walking out the tunnel, it's tunnel vision on what your job is and doing it.
Does Maxi Jorgensen remind you of any player you've seen across the years, or can you take us into, he could potentially make David a World Cup? It's pretty rare to do that. What do you make of him and his rise?
Yeah, no real comparison, but man, he's impressive, eh? Like, I had lunch with him yesterday. I had to remind myself that he just turned 19, like he's so mature, such a good competitor. His footy IQ is through the roof. Even just his body, he's impressive. I think he's creating his own little history there. So I don't have a comparison, but I was even talking to Slips, and we were kind of just, wow, this guy's going to be good.
There's that great story of that kiddo turning 21 at a World Cup. He turned 19 on Saturday. Did the boys chip in for a present or get around it for his?
Oh, we got around him plenty.
No one chipped in.
What does that mean?
Nah. Some things stay internal.
Zane, can I just ask you one more? Did it take a little while to get over South Africa? I imagine when there's the highs of getting a selection that it could be difficult when things don't necessarily go to plan. And how did you get back on the horse?
I think for the first day after the game, you're pretty battered and sore, but you got to get go pretty quickly. You got to learn from it. It didn't take too long because obviously we had a game the next week, and then boys had to go into the Bledisloe. So you can't spend too long, I guess, feeling sorry for yourself. You just got to learn from it, and it didn't take too long because we just had another job to do, and we had to get on to the next game right away.
And was Eddie and Neal really helpful in that respect too? Yeah,
definitely. They gave me good feedback on that game, and helped me through training. I've continued to help me throughout training up until this point on working on anything that I need to work on. So they've been really helpful for me personally.
Are you confident before the start of the competition?
I think we've been building very nicely coming to this World Cup. But like Whitey said, it's a fresh start. All that matters from now on is what happens in the next 4 games, and then hopefully the finals. So we're very confident, very excited going to this tournament.